Alara and her friend Kyla spent the peak of summer's heat lounging by the shimmering pool. The afternoon unfolded with them soaking in the sun's warmth and engaging in light-hearted chatter. Eventually, Alara's gaze drifted towards an upstairs window, noticing the curtains discreetly parted. "Don't look directly, Kyla," Alara murmured, "but I sense my brother observing you." Kyla's eyebrows arched with a slight intrigue before she subtly glanced towards the pane. "Goodness," she exclaimed, "what is his deal? He's not just peculiar, he's completely out of line." "Hey, that's Finn," Alara retorted, a hint of defense in her tone. "He's not out of line, and he's not that asterisk peculiar." "Oh, come on, Alara," Kyla scoffed. "He is asterisk strange. I don't think he's ever exchanged more than a few syllables with me, or frankly, with anyone. The guy barely speaks. He just sequesters himself in his room. Who knows what he does in there?" "He's just reserved," Alara countered. "And observing you from a window doesn't automatically make him a voyeur. Honestly, your swimwear isn't exactly modest. He's simply reacting as most young men would, given the circumstances." "Fair point," Kyla admitted with a grin. "I mean, who asterisk wouldn't asterisk find this appealing?" A shared laugh rippled between them. "Well," Kyla declared mischievously, "since he's gone to such lengths to watch, I might as well give him a proper show." With a deliberate motion, she adjusted her swimsuit, accentuating her figure, clearly aware of the alluring impression she made. "Kyla, seriously," Alara urged, a flush rising on her cheeks. "Be a bit more discreet. We're in broad daylight." "Oh, come on, Alara, what's the fuss?" Kyla waved her hand dismissively. "I'm trying to avoid tan lines, and besides, if your brother's going to spend his time staring, we might as well give him a memorable view." That's my asterisk brother asterisk," Alara groaned, exasperated. "Well, as you said," Kyla responded with a shrug, "he's still a young man." Kyla then spent several minutes adjusting herself, seeking the most captivating pose. Though she'd likely never confess it, she clearly relished the attention from Alara's brother, despite his perceived oddities. Kyla had always been drawn to the spotlight, always ensuring it found her, no matter the situation. "So, what's truly going on with your brother anyway?" "What do you mean by that?" "Well, I always thought he might be less interested in girls," Kyla confided, her eyes flickering from the window back to Alara. "But I suppose I was mistaken." "What in the world are you talking about?" Alara questioned, a little taken aback. "Why would you assume that?" "Just think about it," Kyla reasoned. "He never converses with girls, nor does he seem to show any particular interest." "So, that's your conclusion. He doesn't engage with young men much either. And, in case you haven't noticed, he's certainly demonstrating some asterisk interest right now." "I don't know," Kyla mused. "Up until today, I wasn't even sure he acknowledged women existed. Has he ever, been with anyone?" "Why are you asking asterisk me?" Alara retorted, slightly embarrassed. "How on earth would I know that?" "He's your brother, though. You'd think you'd have some insight." "Well, I don't. We don't discuss such intimate matters. As far as I'm aware, he's likely still quite inexperienced." "Really? That's quite surprising. What do you two talk about?" "Honestly, not much at all." "You're his older sister. I think you should go and ask him." "I'm certainly not going to ask him," Alara declared. "I don't really care to know. If you're so curious, you go ask him." "I think I will," Kyla announced, springing from her lounge chair and heading towards the house. "Kyla, wait, don't, just leave him be." She paid no heed to Alara's pleas, disappearing inside. It was true that Alara and her brother, Finn, weren't particularly close. She often wondered if his upbringing, surrounded by women, had contributed to his quiet nature. Their father had departed when they were young, leaving their mother, Finn, their sister Lydia, and Alara. Their mother immersed herself in her career after the separation, largely leaving the three siblings to navigate their youth together. Alara and Lydia had always shared a strong bond, leaving Finn somewhat isolated. It wasn't for lack of trying to connect. He simply never seemed receptive. He preferred his own company, rarely initiating conversation. He would occasionally converse with Lydia, but always seemed to recoil from Alara. Lydia possessed a natural empathy and listening skill Alara lacked. However, with Lydia now away at college, it was just Alara and Finn. Despite their emotional distance, Finn was still her brother, and Alara certainly didn't want Kyla to cause him any embarrassment. A strong urge to follow her inside surged through Alara, but she decided against it, fearing it would only escalate the situation. She didn't want Finn to mistakenly believe she was complicit in Kyla's impulsive intrusion. A significant amount of time elapsed, and Alara's curiosity began to gnaw at her. She resolved to go inside and investigate, picturing Kyla outside Finn's closed door, relentlessly questioning him about his personal life. Alara hurried inside and ascended the stairs. She could discern Kyla's voice, and as she rounded the corner, she froze, utterly astonished by the scene. Kyla had Finn pressed against the wall, one hand intertwined in the hair at the back of his head. She was positioned intimately close to him, their bodies nearly touching. Finn's trousers were undone, and Kyla held him with a focused intensity. She was murmuring softly to him, her actions conveying a provocative confidence. Alara stood there, breathless and unmoving, a silent observer to their unwitting encounter. "Come on," Kyla coaxed, her voice a low purr. "I know you're feeling this. Let's see how much you can give." Finn closed his eyes tightly, his head falling back in a silent surrender. "Yes, just like that," Kyla whispered, her words barely audible. "Show me what you imagined while watching me from the window. Give me everything, darling." Suddenly, Finn let out a deep groan, and a powerful release surged forth. Alara watched, stunned, as Kyla stepped back slightly, a soft moan escaping her lips as the intense warmth of his passion drenched her skin. It seemed to cascade over her, a torrent of emotion that surprised Alara with its sheer volume. Finn was breathing heavily, his chest heaving. Kyla gently drew his head to her shoulder, embracing him close once more. Alara observed as the residue of his profound release traced a path between them, dampening the fabric of Kyla's swimsuit. "Wow, that was incredible," Kyla exclaimed, a note of awe in her voice. "I've never experienced such intensity. You're quite something." Alara felt a wave of nausea wash over her at the scene. Her stomach twisted into knots, especially as she heard Kyla playfully label her brother. "What in the world are you two doing?" Alara finally managed to blurt out. Kyla's head snapped up, her eyes wide as she saw Alara. "Alara," she gasped. Finn appeared utterly stunned, like a startled deer. He swiftly pushed Kyla away, retreating into his room and locking the door behind him. "Kyla, what on earth just happened?" Alara demanded. "Nothing," Kyla replied, feigning nonchalance. "What do you mean, nothing?" Alara challenged, her voice rising. "I just witnessed everything." "So, if you saw, why are you asking?" "Why did you do that, Kyla?" "What's the big issue?" "He's my asterisk brother." "So what? He's a grown man. Nobody coerced him. Besides, he's quite impressive." What exactly were you trying to achieve?" "I wasn't trying to prove a thing." "I swear, you better not utter a single word about this to anyone." "Sure, Alara, as if I'd go around broadcasting that I engaged with someone so peculiar." "Kyla, honestly, you know what? I think it's time for you to leave." "Fine, but I don't understand why you're so agitated." I probably did him a kindness. I'm sure he's deeply appreciative of your assessment of him. Kyla remained silent, slowly lowering her gaze and subtly adjusting her swimsuit. She turned and walked away. Elara heard her collect her belongings from the backyard and depart through the gate. Elara sat in silence for a minute, replaying the entire scene in her mind. She wondered about Finn's thoughts. A seed of doubt began to sprout. Perhaps she had overreacted. Kyla hadn't truly done anything malicious. Elara decided she needed to try and speak with her brother. She knocked on his door, but received no reply. Eventually, she simply let herself in. Finn glanced up at her briefly, then his eyes dropped to the floor. "Hey," Elara began softly. Silence. Look, I'm truly sorry about what just transpired. It's just that Kyla. Well, Kyla, she's." "It's all right," Finn interrupted quietly. "You don't need to apologize." "Well, I just feel terrible, I mean." "Look, just forget about it, okay? You didn't do anything. Why do you even care anyway?" "What's that supposed to imply?" "It means, why are you suddenly so concerned with my life?" Finn's voice held a hidden sting. "You haven't even spoken to me in weeks, and now you come in here trying to be all sympathetic and protective. It's fine, just go, Elara." "That's an awful thing for you to say to me," Elara retorted, her own hurt surfacing. "You know what? You haven't truly conversed with me about anything substantial in years, let alone the past few weeks. Why would I even bother trying? You never seem to care about what I do." "That's not fair," Elara argued. "How is it that you talk to everyone else in this house but me? You used to confide in Lydia all the time, but whenever I attempt to talk to you, you just dismiss me. My friend knows more about you than I do." "Whatever, Elara. You know, if you had any genuine interest in anyone besides yourself, you'd likely understand why. But you're so incredibly self-absorbed, you don't even bother to open your eyes and truly see what's happening around you." Elara was speechless. She couldn't believe the harsh words Finn was directing at her. She had often tried to engage him, only to be met with his usual evasiveness, and now he was turning the blame onto her. He glared at her, his deep blue eyes piercing through the curtain of dark hair that fell across his face. Elara felt a familiar sting behind her eyes, the urge to cry welling up, and all she wanted was to escape the room. "Fine," Elara declared, her voice trembling. "It's all my fault, okay? I'm just an insensitive, self-centered person who cares about no one but herself. That's why I walked in here, right? I can't believe you. You avoid me like the plague, and you always have. Now you want to claim it's all because of me, then fine. I'll leave." As Elara turned to leave, Finn abruptly rose and gently grasped her shoulder. He turned her to face him, then guided her gently onto his bed. The familiar shy expression returned to his face as he sat beside her. He tentatively placed an arm around her shoulder, drawing her close. "I'm sorry," he whispered, his voice laced with regret. "You're right, it's not you." "Of course not." "Look, there's something I need to tell you," Finn continued, his gaze distant. "I never shared it because I feared you would despise me, but seeing how upset you are, I suppose you deserve to know." "What are you talking about?" Elara questioned, her own anger fading into confusion. "I don't hate you." "Well, I'm relieved to hear that." He paused for a moment, his eyes fixed on the floor. Elara gently nudged him, and he slowly met her gaze. "So, what is it you need to tell me?" "Elara," he began, his voice barely a whisper, "I love you." "I love you too, Finn." "No, I mean, I asterisk love you." Elara gave a nervous little giggle. "I know, but—" "No, you don't quite understand." He rose and began to pace the room, his agitation evident. "Elara, I love you, not merely as a sister. I mean, like a sister, but with a deeper, profound connection. I often find myself thinking about us, about you, and I deeply desire to truly be with you. Elara felt a chill. She understood his words, but her mind struggled to accept the impossible implication. What exactly are you trying to say? She managed, her voice strained. It wasn't Kyla I was watching today, he confessed, his gaze intense. It was you. I think about you constantly. He walked to his closet, retrieving a small pile of fabric. They were Elara's own garments, a delicate scarf, a forgotten t-shirt, even a small, personal item she'd misplaced. He laid them gently on the floor before her. Elara bent down, her fingers tracing the familiar textures. "Where did you find these?" she whispered, confused. "I've been searching for some of these items for ages." I took them, I'm sorry." "Why?" Elara asked, her voice barely audible. "What on earth do you want with my things?" And then the full weight of his confession descended upon her. Everything he had been implying now coalesced into a shocking truth. Her own brother harbored feelings for her beyond the familial. A wave of unease washed over her, and she suddenly felt intensely self-conscious in her minimal swimwear. She instinctively wrapped her arms around herself, crossing her legs tightly. "How long did you?" "For a couple of years now." Elara felt a surge of panic. A profound sickness churned in her stomach, and she scrambled off the bed, fleeing the room. She ran straight to her own bedroom and locked the door behind her. Her head was spinning, a dizzying whirlwind of shock and revulsion, her own brother. The realization twisted her stomach. How could this be? His admission implied a long-held, secret fixation manifested in the taking of her personal items. What other boundaries had been crossed? He had been watching her today. She shuddered, wondering about other times, other observations. The possibilities made her skin crawl. Kyla's earlier, playful assessment echoed in her mind. Perhaps he was peculiar in ways she hadn't fathomed. Elara lay on her bed for hours, her mind a tangled mess of thoughts about Finn. She could hear his movements elsewhere in the house, each sound intensifying her unease. A stark realization settled. She couldn't imagine being near him again. She wondered if Lydia had ever suspected anything. The urge to call her sister was strong, but what words could she possibly use to explain this? Eventually, exhaustion began to set in. She closed her eyes, attempting to push everything from her mind, wishing she could rewind time and avert this entire day. Her stomach remained a tight knot as the day's events relentlessly replayed. Her thoughts drifted back to Kyla and Finn. She recalled the intensity of their intimate moment, the raw passion that had unfolded. A new thought emerged. Had Finn been thinking of her even then? She remembered the depth in his dark blue eyes as they had met hers in his room, piercing through her with an unexpected vulnerability. Despite the profound discomfort, he was still her brother. She didn't want to harbor hatred for him, nor did she want him to hate her. She made a difficult decision. She would go and talk to him. Rising from her bed, Elara walked to Finn's room. No sound emanated from within, so she gently opened the door. The room was dim, but she could discern his form sleeping peacefully in his bed. She approached and sat on the edge, watching him. He seemed so utterly innocent in his sleep. She softly brushed the hair from his face, and he stirred slightly. A wave of profound sadness washed over her. She imagined the immense burden this silent affection must have been for him. Surely, he hadn't chosen this. Love, after all, wasn't a conscious decision. He hadn't simply woken one day and decided to develop such feelings for her. She couldn't fathom enduring such an intense, forbidden emotion for so long, trapped in silence. How had it come to this? She yearned to wake him, to reassure him that everything would be all right, to embrace him and convey that she wasn't angry. She stood, carefully drew back his covers, and quietly slipped in beside him. She pressed herself gently against his back, wrapping her arms around him in a comforting embrace. He shifted slightly, accommodating her presence, then relaxed back into sleep. His skin felt warm against hers, and Alara found an unexpected sense of comfort nestled against his steady warmth. "Alara," he mumbled, his voice thick with sleep, "what are you doing?" "I don't know," she confessed softly. He turned to face her, then slowly sat up. Alara met his gaze, feeling the silent inquiry in his eyes as they gently swept over her. "You're still in your swimwear," he noted quietly. "Oh, yes, I guess I didn't change." "Look, I'm truly sorry," he said, his voice earnest. "Forget about what I confessed. I don't want you to hate me. I couldn't bear that. I'll seek help, talk to someone." "I don't hate you," Alara reassured him, her voice firm. "I'm sorry for my reaction earlier. This isn't your fault. I love you, Finn. Perhaps not in the same way, but you're my little brother, and I could never truly hate you." He struggled, searching for the right words. "I'm sorry I took your things," he offered, a flicker of shame in his eyes. "I'll return them all." "It's okay," Alara replied, a soft smile touching her lips. "You can keep them. I don't really need them back." He offered a small, hesitant smile and lay back down. Alara rested her head on his chest, and he gently ran his fingers through her hair. She draped her leg over his, feeling the undeniable tension in his form beneath her touch. A sudden realization jolted Alara. What was she doing? She knew he wouldn't initiate anything, but this closeness must be an immense struggle for him. She felt a pang of guilt, recognizing her thoughtlessness. How could she put him through this? She quickly pulled away, sitting upright. A silent understanding passed between them. I'm sorry," she stammered, her voice soft. "I just wanted you to know I don't hate you. I really should return to my room now." "No, please," he pleaded, reaching for her hand. "Just stay with me. I know we can't ever. I mean, I would never. I just want to be close to you." "I really don't think that's the wisest idea right now." "I'll go put some clothes on," he offered. "Just stay." "I don't want you to put clothes on. I mean, I do. I really should go." "Yeah, okay, you're probably right." He sighed, sinking back into the pillows and subtly creating more distance between them. Alara swung her legs out of bed and sat up. A part of her yearned to stay, wishing for a different reality. She glanced back at him, but he avoided her gaze. "Can I ask you something?" she ventured. "Of course," he murmured. "Today, with you and Kyla." He rolled his eyes almost imperceptibly and let out a soft sigh. "She surprised me," he admitted, his voice low. "I didn't seek that out, but it happened before I could really process it." "So, you didn't enjoy it?" "Well, yes, I mean it was. Intense, but I don't have feelings for her." "Have you ever experienced anything like that before?" "What do you mean by anything like that?" "I mean, have you ever been intimately involved with anyone?" He looked down again, shaking his head slightly. "No." "Why not?" "I don't know," he shrugged. "It's not as if I have girls clamoring for my attention." "That's silly," Alara countered gently. "You're a handsome guy. You could genuinely attract many people." "Not just any girl," he corrected softly, his gaze meaningful. "Well, yes, you know what I mean." "Yes," he affirmed. A comfortable silence settled between them for a few minutes. Alara felt an unexpected impulse. She rose, untied her bikini top, and let it fall softly. Turning, she faced him, then slowly lowered her bottoms, stepping out of them. Neither spoke as she quietly slipped back under the covers, nestling close to Finn. She felt the warmth of his proximity, a tender tension in the air. She moved even closer, a silent invitation in her touch. "I truly think you could attract anyone you desire." Their eyes locked, a profound understanding passing between them. Alara felt his hand reach out, tentative and warm, resting on her side. She held her breath as his touch, soft and hesitant, registered for the first time. She could feel a subtle tremor in his fingers as they gently explored the curve of her hip, a tender caress along her side. "Are you certain this is what you want?" he asked, his voice low with concern. "No," she admitted honestly. "But I am sure that I love you, Finn. I want to be a real part of your life, to truly talk to you. If this shared intimacy is the path to that connection, then I believe I'm ready. Besides, I think I might have been a little jealous of Kyla. She seemed to connect with you in a way I never did." "You don't have to do this, Alara," he insisted gently. "I will love you no matter what." "I know," she whispered back, "and I love you too. This is something I want to explore." He drew her close, and their lips met, tentatively at first, then with a growing tenderness. His kiss was soft, a gentle exploration that sent a shiver through Alara. A dizzying warmth spread through her as their connection deepened. She felt the subtle shift in his embrace, a silent affirmation of his longing. Her hand found his, intertwining their fingers, a quiet promise exchanged. His breath hitched, a small sound escaping him as their intimacy deepened. Their kisses grew more fervent, a dance of growing passion. "Slow down," she whispered, her voice a soft plea. "Take your time and just relax. We can go slowly." He nodded apologetically, a flicker of understanding in his eyes. "It's okay," he murmured. "I just want you to truly feel this moment." Alara took both his hands, gently guiding them as they both sat upright. She shifted, positioning herself intimately close to him, her legs softly intertwining with his. She guided his hands to her body, letting them explore her curves, a silent invitation to tenderness. His touch, at first hesitant, grew more confident, awakening a sensual awareness. His fingers traced delicate paths, a soft caress against her skin. A profound warmth bloomed within her as she surrendered to the unfolding intimacy. She leaned in, and their lips met once more, a passionate embrace. His hands found their rhythm, exploring her form with growing confidence as he trailed kisses and soft bites along her neck. Alara, swept up in the moment, allowed her hands to follow their own intuition, exploring the burgeoning intensity of their connection. His fervent responses indicated a rising tide of passion, and she matched his escalating desire. The air thickened with unspoken promises, a shared journey into deeper intimacy. "Let's see if you can match the intensity you showed Kyla today," she challenged playfully. He responded with a deep, guttural sound, and soon, Alara felt the powerful culmination of his desire. A profound release, like a cleansing rain, washed over them both, an outpouring of passion that seemed to last an eternity, enveloping them in its fervent warmth. "That was incredible," Alara breathed, awestruck. "Is it always so intense?" He nodded, a soft smile playing on his lips. A deep yearning for connection stirred within Alara. She took his hand, guiding it to the core of her longing, demonstrating the touch she craved. She moaned softly as his fingers responded, a delicate dance that quickly led her to a profound wave of ecstasy. Her body arched, surrendering to the exquisite sensations until the glorious release swept through her. A desire to intimately connect with him consumed her. She gently guided him to lie back, and she moved closer, her lips delicately exploring. She savored the moment, feeling him respond, his desire growing once more. Soon, she felt him gently draw her back up, a silent communication of his own yearning. Understanding, she shifted, inviting a new form of closeness. It took a few moments for them to find a harmonious rhythm, but soon, she was enveloped in a wave of pleasure, leading to another glorious climax. Not long after, he experienced his own fervent release, a warm, overwhelming sensation that deepened their bond. A profound need to feel him entirely, to become one with him, overtook her. Before the moment's intensity could wane, she moved, positioning herself, a tender union of their bodies. The initial embrace was deep, a stretched intimacy that soon gave way to a fluid, rhythmic connection. They moved together for what felt like timeless hours, bodies intertwined in a dance of passion, each sensation building to countless waves of shared rapture. The night deepened around them, and eventually they fell asleep, entwined. When Alara awoke the next morning, nestled beside Finn, she felt the comforting weight of his strong arms holding her close. A serene peace settled over her. Her only regret was that they hadn't found this profound connection, this undeniable intimacy, much, much sooner.